This is Suit Up Sports.
Suit Up Sports.
Where opinions are as sharp as a tailored suit. No fluff, no gimmicks, just unfiltered, hard-hitting takes on sports and a whole lot more. It's time to suit up. Now here's your host, DJ the Suit Stout.
Today's Suit Up Sports is brought to you by Neogenics, Charlotte's #1 when it comes to stem cells and regenerative therapy. I'm not saying that because that's what I'm supposed to say. I'm saying that because I've lived it. So is Frank. Nico over at Neogenics is taking care of us. I've had stem cells in my arm. I've had it in my knee. I've had it in my shoulder. You've had it in your back.
Buddy, you ain't lying when you're talking about Neogenics as a life support for us as older guys. Weekend warriors.
Yep.
If you're looking to, kind of replenish your body and get that 30-something filled back, Neogenics is the place for you. I know a lot of Panther players used it. I used it. Got my lower back done.
Yep.
And the best thing about them, buddy, is that they will tell you exactly what it is that you need to do, and they might not be able to help you.
And if they can't treat you, they won't treat you.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's any nagging joint pain, shoulder, neck, back, knees, any of those things, they'll treat it. They do stem cells, they do PRP, and like Frank said, they do a lot of athletes from Thomas Davis to Harold Varner Jr. to Matt Doherty, and I can go to Tony Womack, baseball all-star. It works, and they're honest, like Frank said. Some of their competition they'll treat you just to take the money, whether they know it's going to work or not work. These guys are only going to work with you if they know they can help you. 704-727-6551. That's 704-727-6551 or neogenicstemcells.com. You see it on the bottom scroll of our show, neogenicstemcells.com. Tell them DJ and Frank sent you.
Check them out, bud.
Welcome to Suit Up Sports. I'm DJ the Suit Stout, along with 10-year NFL vet Frank Garcia. Frank, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Just hanging out. It's going to be some crazy weather this weekend, and I don't know whether to go shopping and buy up all the butter and the bread and all the milk, and it's dangerous over there right now. Those soccer moms are hoarding all of the water.
Man, I cut through a parking lot today of a Harris Teeter, and I was thinking about going in. And I had to sit there for at least 5 minutes while people were walking across with their carts. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going in there because everything's going to be gone. And I'm going to end up just buying stuff that I don't need to buy anyway. I did make sure that my liquor cabinet is full, and I did make sure I got plenty of mixers. But like bread, milk, all the other crap that the cupboards are bare supposedly in all the grocery stores in Charlotte.
No bread, no milk,
nothing.
None of the cheese. All the dairy products are gone. All the light bulbs are gone. All the generators are gone.
Yeah.
The funny thing is these weather people. I mean, they probably have a hard job, but they are the one profession that can be right or wrong 90% of the time and still have a job.
Well, I follow Brad Panovich. That's my boy. So he's usually as close as anybody's going to be. And even with our music festivals, we use him. I mean, Brad's great. And, I was hoping if we're going to get this kind of weather and we're going to have to,
I want it to snow.
Me too. And now we're going to get ice.
Originally it started off 16 to 18 inches. This was like 2 days ago. Everybody's talking about the storm of the century.
Mm-hmm.
I have weather guys coming on my apps everywhere, talking this close to the TV, like they're scaring me to
death.
This
is their Super Bowl.
I know. And they're like, the storm of the century. I mean, should I go hide? I mean, I don't know what to do. Should I run? I mean, do I build the bunker? What do I need to do?
I'll tell you. So this morning, our buddy Conrad came over and helped me get my generator, make sure it's running good, and it is. But last night I was laying in bed and I was having a hard time falling asleep, and I'm watching all the things you're talking about, and I'm reading all these weather reports, and it looks like there's a really good chance that we're probably going to lose power at some point if the ice is what they're saying it is.
But they also said the same thing about the snow. We're going to have 18 inches, so
no doubt
losing power is something that even if we do, it's going to be a couple hours, right?
Well, you never know, and it's going to be cold as hell. But I tell you what I did, and because of reading all that weather stuff, as I'm laying there and I'm bored, and so then I go, do I have flashlights? Do I have batteries? Do I have candles? So I went on Amazon, and like $250 later, I got flashlights coming, batteries of all kinds coming, candles.
You're one of those guys.
Well, I'm normally not, but this time for some reason, and I think the reason why, and this will lead us into the show, I think the main reason why I made sure that the generator was working, and then I had all these things, is because I'll be damned if we're going to miss these football games on Sunday because we have no power or no internet. And so now I'm already putting together, all right, I'm going to stream from my phone as long as the 5G data works. Then I'll be able to stream onto the TV that I'll run from the generator, the refrigerator outside. I'll hook that to the generator.
So I'll make you a deal.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
I'm ready for the zombie apocalypse if it ever happens. Right. I have my cars. I have more guns and ammunition than you know what to do with. I have food for like 6 months. And I'm not talking like, this powder. I'm talking, blueberry pancakes and steak. And, I have all the stuff in these little containers that are army proof. And I've built up and have my little compound ready to go. I will share with you and your boys and your family if you provide the electrical stuff and the technology.
I got
because I'm lost when it comes to that.
Dude,
I'll have all the food and everything, and I'll be hiding in it because I won't know how to communicate.
Oh, it's going to be freezing, but yeah, I've got all that handled.
Build a compound in the woods somewhere underneath a tree.
I'm in.
Build an underground cave.
I'm in.
And we'll have I just need you to light it.
I got it.
Right,
and the worst part is Sunday's the day that we're supposed to get all this, which is when the football games are. So, like I said, even if I just take one TV downstairs, plug it in, as long as the data works, I can stream. And I bought like extension cords. I bought all kinds of crap last night. My wife.
Are your generators gas?
It's gas.
Okay.
We had it running this morning. Everything's good with that. Got gas. And, because I saw the stores were going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
I pulled a little Jedi mind trick on my wife, and I don't think she watches the show. Otherwise, I wouldn't say this because it'd get me caught. But my wife and my stepson eat totally different than me and my boys and Connor. Like totally different. Vegan, healthy, and me and my boys
gluten-free.
Yeah, and me and my
sugars,
boys eat, we eat
meat and potatoes.
Yeah, like regular people.
Like
and so
people.
I thought to myself, all right. She hates going to the store, but she'll order it online from like Whole Food or Fresh Market, wherever she gets her silly food. And so I text her and I said, hey babe, why don't you order groceries so to make sure that you and Colson have the food that you like to eat. Dylan and Connor aren't here this weekend, so I'm not too worried about it. I can eat anything, but why don't you order it? And that way we'll make sure we have stuff for you and Colson. And she hit me back saying, okay, but I'm going to order it from Whole Foods or Fresh Market. I said, that's fine. Just make sure y'all take care of it.
If push came to shove, they're going to eat meat and potatoes and chicken wings.
Colson will eat more of our stuff. But Krista,
she has allergies.
He does too.
Oh.
But I mean, Chris is allergic to me. She's allergic to nuts. She's allergic to everything. But yeah, she'll taste it. Now, that big pot of chili I made last week, I saw her going over there and
giving a little dip in there.
Oh yeah, so I don't think wants to admit that she'll eat it sometimes. But
it's like us. We don't want to admit that we eat donuts, but we sneak those or cookies and all those things. Well, especially when we're trying to be healthy and
right. Well, yeah, especially with her. Like I'll be in the pantry late at night if I've been out on a bender, and I'll get a box of cereal. And I can just feel the security camera looking at me. I know she's looking at me, and I'm like, oh, damn it.
Here's the one thing.
Fat shaming me.
Before we get into the show, I do have to ask this question because I've seen your grocery order.
Yeah. Mine or hers?
Hers.
Yeah.
She orders more bananas than the Amazon can produce. You have a bushel.
Yeah.
At least a bushel of bananas down there. There's no way in the world you eat that many bananas.
You know what?
I mean, they're literally, and I'm not kidding, people. It's like 60 bananas. And it's 60 bananas. And I think she and Colson are the only ones that eat it.
I try to eat one a day, but I'll tell you this. You're right. They never eat them in time. So that's why she then makes banana bread.
She did make some good. I tried that banana
It's
bread.
good, but she doesn't put nuts in it because her and Colson are allergic to it, which my mom used to make it with walnuts or whatever. But yeah, she does make banana bread when they go bad, but she does buy tons of bananas.
It makes sense why she's allergic to you now.
Well, I think if you asked her for her top 5 list on that, it would be that'd be down the totem pole. But
speaking of top 5,
speaking of top 5, we now know who number 1 is. And Indiana and Miami Monday night national championship game. Indiana coming in just beating people's ass. Miami going through a gauntlet of great teams to get there. NFL talent all over both sides of the ball. The number 1 pick in the draft, most likely Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner. And, Cignetti, who is now, going down in history as maybe one of the best coaches ever in such a quick time.
It was definitely the best season, best coaching job that I've ever seen.
It was unbelievable.
And, I'm talking about any sport for 1 year. you put obviously Bobby Knight still, the guy that sits on the throne, for the Hoosiers in Indiana and that university in that state, and what that basketball program has meant, 40, 50, 60 years ago. But Cignetti quickly catapulted himself to be the right-hand man.
Mm-hmm.
And if he continues to do this with where that program was at, he'll overtake that very, very, very quickly, because, this guy, there are going to be people studying across the country what he did and how he did it, especially, in the time and day where we're at right now with the portal and the NIL, and, figuring out a way to create a formula in 2 years and damn near go undefeated last year, put himself in the playoffs. And then this year, go undefeated. The first team since, I believe, Harvard to go Yale to go 16-0. So, and that was like 1820,
long time ago.
140 years.
Well,
since that's happened. Football began.
Good luck copying it, because number one, to be able to copy it, you have to be able to look at talent and go, okay, this guy fits my system and this guy fits this. And because it was documented a million times over the past month about that, he has maybe 2 or 3, 4 or 5 stars on that team. Hell,
but he has grown men.
He does have grown men, and a lot of the players that he has played at JMU with him. So, he didn't go get these guys at these other schools of cherry picking the 5 stars or 4 stars.
What he found, DJ, is he found culture. He went to these schools and he found culture and he created it.
Yeah.
And then when he created it, he recruited to it.
Mm-hmm.
And when he recruited to it, he found a Fernando Mendoza that was rejected from Miami, that grew up wanting to play there as a little kid, who went to all their camps, that was told he's not good enough, not big enough, not fast enough, not strong enough. And he finds guys like Tom Brady, like Mendoza, with chips on their shoulders. They're going to come in and play. Finds other linemen from other teams that are near the end, but they're going to give them a little bit of money because he values those positions. He values big offensive linemen. He values defensive linemen that are athletic and fast, and he values guys that just love the game more than they do being paid. Yeah,
and the thing about the way he coaches too is it's not just one phase. So with Lane Kiffin, we all think Lane's a really good coach. I think we would all agree he's a good coach. We all know that he's an offensive-minded coach, and he's usually above the trends when it comes to offense. Well, with Cignetti, you look at his offense, you look at his defense, his special teams, which the block punt in this game, which was a huge play in this game.
He's probably the coach that reminds me of Saban so quickly. That, because he doesn't coach the offense, he coaches a standard. And what his standard is that we are going to be excellent 100% of the time. I don't care what phase it's in, whether it's offense, defense, special teams, whether it's classwork, whether it's home, whether it's in public, right? We are going to create a standard of excellence, and that's what we're going to achieve, whether it's making your bed every morning, and it's the routine, and it's the regiment, and it's working hard when everybody else is ready to be tired and go home. They're going to stay and continue to do that. And that's what he does. And he doesn't do it. And he's not militant about the amount of time. He's not hoarding these players' times. I've seen his practice schedule. It's an hour and a half on Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, it's a walkthrough. Monday, it's a walkthrough, corrections. Weekends, other than Saturday, they're off Sunday. And the coaching staff's the same thing. But when they're there, they're going to work.
Yep.
It's all business.
Yep.
All right. And we're going to be efficient. We're going to be fast. We're going to be effective. And that's the way he coaches. We got a discussion a couple of weeks ago about should they sit out their players, right? They had a big lead. I believe it was against Alabama or Oregon. I remember who it was. And, I remember the debate being like, oh, these guys should take them out. What if they get hurt? That's not the way that's not the standard that he's created.
Mm-hmm.
He's created a standard that these guys believe in, they die for. And if it's not him, it's going to be the guy the next up.
Yeah.
Right. And you can't have that standard and try to sell people on that standard and then take your foot off the gas when you're still out there playing.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens next year with Indiana, because we mentioned how this team had very little 4 and 5 stars. They've been crushing the portal. So, I mean, who
doesn't want to play for him right now?
That's my point. So now he's getting these 4 and 5 stars who still are going to fit the criteria that he was looking for out of these 2 and 3 stars. I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. And even without Mendoza, they bring in the quarterback from TCU, and I think I don't see him going anywhere. And Mendoza, had a solid game, right? He had one of the most epic touchdown on 4th and 4, the draw play, which is one of the most epic runs. That, we'll see it now every year during the national championship.
It just identified everything about who this kid is, and what he's gone through.
Yeah.
Right. He gets. They're Miami. I don't know if you want to say their credit. They knew what they had to do. Mm-hmm. They had to beat Mendoza up. They had to try to muddy the game. They had a Dennis Rodman him out there on the football field.
Yeah.
Take shots. Some of them cheap, right? And if the referees aren't going to call it,
keep doing it.
Guys are going to keep doing it. All right. The referees have to make sure that they monitor and control the safety of the players. And I agree with Cignetti. They did a terrible job of that. Yeah. The time he got targeted off the edge in a full blitz, he gets hit underneath the chin, carrying out a fake. He becomes a runner, but you still can't target a guy and launch yourself into his chin with your helmet to helmet.
Yeah.
Right. That's still illegal. The fact that you can hit him all you want, but you can't do that. Right. And there was a couple of other times within the game that they were going after him as a player, and he kept getting up. When he got hit, it reminded me so much of a quarterback I played with, Steve Berline. Mm-hmm. Right. And I remember the day is like, God bless you. We're going to get this guy.
He had a year where I think he led the league in getting sacked.
Well,
right?
But he also threw for almost 5,000 yards and was a Pro Bowl player, right? So, you talk about tough as nails. That's the thing I can appreciate and love and respect about Mendoza and every one of those guys is that they're going to lose some, right? They're going to get knocked down. They're going to get hit hard. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to get up, they're going to spit the blood out, and they're going to keep fighting.
Yeah, and to Miami's credit, they did the same thing. There was a couple of times in that game where I thought, this is it.
Oh, Miami didn't back down. No, this is a great game.
They kept coming back, and, I feel bad for Carson Beck because, think of whatever you want to about the guy, but,
I don't feel bad for him. He's making $6 million. You're a pro, buddy.
Well, I get that part, but still, he had the bad interception at the end of the game. He was still 19 for 32, 232 yards, touchdown, and a 124 passing rating. So I do feel bad from the standpoint of, he had a really good game, and Miami was in the game the entire time. I love Fletcher at running back, and he said he's going to stay another year. Menza supposedly transferred from Duke to there. So Miami, I don't think is going anywhere either.
Listen, Miami,
it was a hell of a game.
Miami lost that game not because they got out athletes, because they got out coached. And
the block punt was a killer.
That's part of it, right?
Yeah.
That's the consistency. That's the excellence. Whether it's every single play, it's the inches that matter. Yeah. There's a great video on Instagram right now that's this running coach is talking to a lot of these star athletes that are all receivers, linebackers, but they're all going to be NFL prospects. And he's talking about the difference between this line and this line. This line right here to get off on your 40, this is a 3rd round line. This is the 1st round line. This is the difference between a 4.7 and a 4.5, right? The getting to learn those strides and taking them. He had it broken down into inches on what you do in your 40. And really, that's what this game is. And that's the way Cignetti coaches. And really, the standard of and the culture that he's created is all about, we're going to take care of the inches. It's the little things that are going to add up to the big things. It's all the cliches that coaches you've heard in high school talk about. And he does it better than everybody else. He doesn't sacrifice those things, and he makes sure that he finds coaches to coach that way, and he finds players that are going to respond that way. And that's what he's doing different than everybody else. And what happens, DJ, is when you get these superstar athletes and they're looking to be me, but everybody else is doing us. What is that superstar athlete that's going me going to do? He's either going to transfer
in line or gets out,
or he's going to get in line, right? Yep. And that's what, when you have a quarterback like Mendoza, Brady, when you have a Manning, when you have a leader at that position, you don't leave anywhere for these players to turn. They are going to get in line or they're going to get off the bus, right? Yeah. But this bus is going straight forward, and we're going to championships, and we're playing to win. And you can either be a part of it, part of the problem, or part of the solution, or part of the problem. You're part of the problem, get off.
Yeah. He lost one game in the last 2 years. And like I said, I don't see him going anywhere. They've been drilling the portal even while playing through the playoffs. And so,
you know, what's so interesting you were saying about Beck. I don't know if you saw this or not. The way he's ended his season for the last, I think, 3 teams that he's been on, every one of his last plays was what?
Pick.
A interception to lose the game.
Yeah.
He's lost, I think, 6 games in his career, but 3 of the last 3 he's lost with a pick 6, or just a pick, not a pick 6. But, that's where you're like, okay, does this guy not have it? He puts him in position. He played good.
Yeah.
Miami played hard. It was the difference between special teams and the little things that we don't talk about. we forget about, right? It's the little things that we forget about, but the coaches don't.
Right.
They know that every one of those plays could matter. Every chance you have to make a play is an opportunity to win the game.
Yep.
Right. And that's the way they coach. Every single play counts. Forget about the last one. Don't look to the next one. Let's focus on this one, and let's go out there and make a play.
Well, Indiana's your national championship this year, or national champion this year. And like I said, a lot going on with college football right now. Hopefully a lot of it gets cleaned up, but they win it this year, undefeated 16-0. And now we can now take a breath and now focus on the playoffs in the NFL. Before we get to the NFL games, though, I wanted to ask your opinion on something. So Josh Pate, I don't know if you've seen him. He's on ESPN. He hosts a college football show.
Kind of a heavy-set guy.
Big ball-headed guy. And he came out yesterday with his solution to fix not everything in college football, but to fix certain things in college football, like the time, the scheduling, the no 26-day layoffs for playoff teams, making some of the other big bowl games relevant again. And I wanted to get your opinion on and walk you through what he said, because I think he nailed it. And
hold on, let me say this before you start.
Yep.
Because I think that this is going to be everybody's challenge that thinks about how to make things better, right? We always try to fix the entire problem with one swoop of the pen or one decision in 1 year and have it a quick fix. It's never going to be that for this.
Right.
This is going to be, what is the priority that we have to change this year? Because it's going to take some time to get everybody, with the amount of money that's at stake, everything has been fast forwarded to, this has to happen now, right?
Yeah.
And we all want it, yesterday on how to fix college football. I mean, it's definitely broken. I mean, there's a lot of great things about college football, but when you look at what Cignetti has done again, he is going to have a blueprint that you as another coach can decide, I want to take that blueprint and copycat that, because that's what success is. Or I can try to, go out there and get the best player, or I can go pay for this guy over here, and I can go find this 5-star over there. And I'm going to have a lot of talented guys, but we're just going to have a bunch of talented guys.
Yeah. And he did. He said, look, there's a lot of problems. This ain't fixing the NIL money. There's a lot of other things that have to get fixed. But as far as the scheduling and making other bowl games relevant.
So he's talking about the timing more than anything else, the NIL.
Exactly.
Okay, so the timing of this.
That's a whole, the NIL.
He's talking about when the transfer portal opens up, when you're allowed to recruit, when you're allowed to sign coaches. Yeah. So he's working more towards the scheduling and the proximity of when to do those things.
Right, correct. So his first move was, week 0, they call it now in college football, where you have like 3 or 4 games the week
the first game.
And then the week after is when the season starts for everybody else. He's saying, get rid of week 0, move the first week of regular football back to week 0. So everybody starts on week 0 now. So you're moving the season back a week.
So what are you going to do with the week 0? Is week 0 going to start at week 0?
No, there's no more week 0s.
At -1.
You can still have those games at the Georgia Dome and whatever you want. We'll just be week 1 now. It's just going to move back a week.
So what you basically suggesting is to move up
just move the season back a week.
No, move it up a week to start early. Start
earlier, correct.
Yeah, that's right.
So you start a week earlier. All the teams start a week earlier. By doing that, when you get to Thanksgiving weekend, instead of just having, the games we always have, Texas and Texas A&M, Mississippi State, now what happens on Thanksgiving weekend, you keep conference championship games, and those are now Thanksgiving weekend, right? Because everything's backed up. So
the conference championship games, as we sit right now, play after Thanksgiving weekend.
Right.
So what usually happens on Thanksgiving, that's where the rivalry games
take
place. So are you moving the rivalry games up for 1 week? So the week before Thanksgiving?
Correct.
So you're going to be more basically on a high school schedule. High school. Well, high school
as far as like when you play, as far as months and weeks,
right? Yeah. You're starting earlier.
Yeah.
Right? High school starts a week or 2 earlier than what college does. So if you're going to move the season up, then you got to move everything up.
Yeah.
Right?
So those rivalry games still happen. They just happen the week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So Thanksgiving weekend, you have the conference championship game. Okay. And I'm trying to read my own handwriting here. So Thanksgiving weekend now is huge because you got all the college the conference championship games. Then the following weekend, Friday, Saturday, he said whatever day, whatever, are going to be bowl games and not the Sugar Bowl and the Rose Bowl, which are already part of the playoffs. Not the signature
bowls, but it'll be the one-off bowl.
The signature, the secondary ones like the Pop-Tart Bowl, which would have been BYU, Notre Dame, or whoever,
or the Charlotte Bowl, the mayonnaise bowl,
whatever the next
Duke
7 or 8 big bowl games are. And now those are going to be the week after Thanksgiving. And if you followed his thinking this year, you would have had these bowl games on the week after Thanksgiving. You would have, and again, these are all playoff games basically now because the winner goes.
So what you're talking about is taking all of the bowl games that were the signature bowl games like Notre Dame, Vanderbilt. I'm trying to think of the other teams, Texas, that didn't get in, that were still going to play in bigger bowls because of the draw that they had. So it's basically your top 25 teams.
Right.
You're 1 through 25.
Right.
You're going to try to figure out, we're going to put them in a bowl game the week before.
Correct.
Okay.
But which is a playoff game because the winner of those bowl games. So now we're going
to call that a playoff week.
He didn't say what they'll call it. He just said the winner of those bowl games would move on to the next round of the playoffs. So it's almost like a playing game. That's it.
We call it, when you're looking at brackets, they're called piggybacks, right?
Yeah.
They're the ones that sit off that first round to play in.
Playing games, exactly what it would be. So this year, if you would have followed his protocol, your bowl games would have been Oregon against Houston, Ole Miss against Michigan, Texas A&M against Arizona, Oklahoma against Southern Cal, Texas against Utah, Notre Dame against Vandy. So what it does there is what you just said. It takes some of the teams that didn't get in, like Texas, Notre Dame, Vanderbilt, who all thought
they should be
right. Now they at least have a chance. Now you're in a playing game. Win it and you're in it. Lose it and you're out.
So we already have 12 teams that are already in, and I think we all would agree, just from hearing this right now, that we are not going to take the AAA teams and put them in the big
Tulane and James Madison.
Tulane and James Madison.
Not in.
Sorry, we're going to go have your own championship. You can win whatever, or play in one of these bowl games if you want.
They'll still play in the other bowl game.
Well, they could even play in one of these. Why couldn't they play in these and beat a Texas or beat a Notre Dame? Why couldn't we have one of those games in this? If we want to have that, it's still a good opportunity for them to have a chance, just like they do in the NCAA tournament. Is that you have one of these teams that
16 really, against one.
You got a 16 against one, but really you have to play the 8-9 game to get in, right?
Yep.
And one of those teams is going to be a Notre Dame that didn't get in, but they're playing, one of those other teams. So how many of those games would matter? That would be the next question.
Well, if you look at
because that's as many bowl games as you're going to need. Because if there's going to be, let's say there's going to be 12 teams already in, so we're only looking for 4 spots.
Well, he wouldn't have had 12. I
games.
think he's saying you just keep the teams that got the bye basically this year. Like Indiana wouldn't play in one of these.
No,
they're still playing one of these.
So no. I understand that. So basically, what all the teams that were in the top 12, they're not playing this week. They get a bye week. Right. So they get a bye week. The teams that are on the outside of the top 12, the Notre Dames, the Vanderbilts, the Texas, the Arizona, whoever else you're going to throw in there.
But it wouldn't be all because, like I said, Oregon would have been in this. Ole Miss would have been in this.
So they're going to have to play another game.
Those teams, the way that the rankings fell, would in his scenario would have played. But the other, whoever gets, I guess, the top 2 or 4 buys.
So you would have 4 buys still.
But Oregon, instead of playing James Madison at home like they did, would have played Houston at home.
So let's see, you have 4 buys. All right, there's still going to be an opportunity for 12 teams to come in.
Correct.
So you need 6 games. You need 6 of those bowl games.
There's 6 of them.
So you need 6 of those.
So the winner of these 6.
So Oregon. So who is the number 5 team? Would it be Texas Tech? They were number 4. Who would have been number 5? It would have been, who was the number 5 team?
It would have been Oregon, I think. Right?
Okay, Oregon was the 5 team. They would play the worst seeded team.
Yeah, Houston.
So they'd play 16.
Houston, whoever that is, whatever ranking
they'd play
they were.
16. That's you're going to take 1 through 16.
And then A&M would have played Arizona, that would make sense. And then
A&M would have been a 5 playing a.
And then Notre Dame would have been a 5-6 game basically against Vandy.
Yeah. So you're just basically adding another round to the playoffs.
But so
and calling it a bowl game.
And a playing game, right? Like you said.
Or playing game.
So then after those games, those will be Friday or Saturday. That Sunday morning, you do Selection Sunday. So now you announce the brackets, right? So you're still doing that.
Well, you already know who's in.
Well, not necessarily. Like I said.
Well, if there's an upset, you're right. If the 16 team beats 5 and they beat Oregon, they have to reset and shuffle the bracket.
Correct.
So here's who it would hurt. It's going to hurt the 12. It's still going to be the Notre Dames and the Texases that could get hurt, but they could also get helped if they win.
If they win, you're in. At least it's in their hands and not a committee of a bunch of dudes who probably never played football. So
well, I mean, Notre Dame and Texas both are in this year. And Vanderbilt would have been the one if you eliminate TCU or you eliminate
JMU and
JMU and who's the other one?
Tulane.
You eliminate them. I don't even think we're having this conversation. This
probably not as much. So then you have Selection Sunday. Then the following week is round 1 of the playoffs. the home teams host at home, right? So now we have one round of that where you host at home. But now the teams like Texas Tech, who played Oregon, Texas Tech had a bye, Oregon didn't. Texas Tech would be playing Oregon at home, which is a big difference for the teams that do get the bye, right? So that makes a difference. And then week 2, the home team still host at home, right? So now you've got all that revenue coming in. You're giving the bye teams a chance to have home games instead of having, like, Texas Tech never got a home game and they had a bye. That makes sense. And then in week 3, you go to the neutral sites like you would, which would be the Rose Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, whatever. And then the national championship would be on January 1st, on New Year's Day. And then you take a week off after that, and that's when the portal opens, and that's when you can sign people and all those things.
I think I think that's a little convoluted with how you could really do this to make it easy. Because here's what I'm going to argue. In what you just said, with everything said, in the last 2 years, with buys, the teams that have had buys are what? 1-7. I don't want to buy.
But remember, this is what this handles. Their buys mean they don't play usually for 21 to 26 days. Now they're only getting a week off.
I don't want to buy.
That makes a big difference.
It might.
I mean, that makes a big difference.
That would definitely make a little bit of difference.
I mean, 1 week off is a chance to get a little healthier. 3 and 4 weeks off is a chance to get rusty and lose your momentum and all those
lose
things.
Your sharp edge and things like that. I mean, I think you could try it this way, and I would have no problem with it. But I would argue, as a coach, if we're going to move the season up, let's play it out. 1 versus 16, all right? 2 versus 15, 3. I don't want to buy. We're just going to start the playoffs a week early. Forget these bowl games. We're going to have playoff games.
Well, you could still do that. The like you said, it just wouldn't be the top 4 teams wouldn't have a bye. They would just have a home game.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, you could eliminate the bye altogether.
That's what I'm saying. To eliminate
that would be a good question if you asked the coaches that had buys. If you would have 1 week bye compared to the 3 or 4 week bye, would you take that or would you rather keep playing? It'd be interesting.
As a coach myself, that has those opportunities with teams, and we're only in high school,
right?
But having that extra week at the end of the season, it's a detriment to us. It really is. I mean, if we're hurt and banged up, it might help a little bit. We really need, especially in high school, we only need a couple days to recoup. I mean, your bodies are still young. Once you get in the NFL, it's a different story.
Yeah.
These are grown men that, are taking abuse and are 8, 9, 10 years into the league. These are 18, 19-year-old kids. Their body's going to heal up and get ready to go. They're not going to have the fatigue that some of these guys in the NFL do. So I would say that the only difference the bye would give would be an opportunity for them to self-evaluate, maybe heal up a little bit, maybe get a player back. But, how good is he going to be if he's already been out?
It gives you an extra week also to prepare for who you're going to play.
You don't know who
you won't know. But if you are going to play against, let's just say if Oregon's playing JMU.
Yeah, you can predict who you're going to play.
Texas Tech coach came out and said for 3 weeks we prepare for Oregon.
Yeah.
So it does give you a step ahead in that. Now that didn't help Texas Tech against Oregon.
I mean, at the end of the day, there's also a thing as overcoaching and being over prepared. Now you start seeing, if I watch too much film, believe it or not, you start seeing things that aren't there.
Well, especially if the other team decides to change up what they're doing and you haven't seen it for 3 weeks.
Right. Well, most of them aren't going to change up. Yeah, but they're going to have a couple different plays that are going to do those things, and you have to adjust anyway. So I would bet that most coaches would say, let's go play it. Let's roll it in. We got all the momentum right now. We're the number 1 seed. Let's roll it out there and play.
Yeah.
I don't want this bye because all we have to do is a chance, an opportunity for us to, excuse my language, but to screw off and go get in trouble. Because that's what idle time for college kids with $5 million is going to do.
Yeah.
It'd be more chances for them to get in trouble. So
the other thing that this does, for those secondary bowl games, we'll call them, it eliminates what's happening now in every one of them, which is 80% of the guys aren't playing because, number one, they're either going to the NFL and they don't want to get hurt.
Yeah.
Or they're already under the portal. So this backs all that up.
Well, that's the main thing that this would change, right, is what you just said right there, right? It starts the season earlier, and a lot of times, I'm not even sure if you're aware of this or not, if you're a senior in high school, you're leaving halfway through your senior year.
Right. You're enrolling early.
You're enrolling early
Drake
enrollment.
May did that. A lot of guys
right?
do that.
Early enrollment. That's not going to change that. Right. And that may need to be addressed as well. But you're early enrollment, so you get an extra head start. If you're a freshman, you can play and contribute and help out. We know who we have, et cetera, et cetera. But what it does do is it allows my coaches that if I have a hot coach that is a coordinator or a head coach that's going to maybe potentially move to another job, it eliminates the Lane Kiffin situation
Correct.
from what we had happen this year,
Correct.
which would benefit a team like Ole Miss, who deserved to have Lane Kiffin out there playing. And Lane Kiffin did want to be. I don't care what anybody says. Lane Kiffin wanted to be out there.
He wanted to be there. No doubt.
No doubt about that.
No doubt.
And I guarantee if Lane Kiffin was there, that might have been a different story against Miami. Miami's a hell of a team. They got hot. Their defense is incredible. They just didn't have the offense to match them. But Ole Miss did. And they could score, and they did all these things. And with Lane Kiffin there, they're going to have a better chance, period.
Yeah, I agree.
They just are, because it's the consistency, it's the routine.
It's the lack of all the distractions those players had for 30, 40 days.
Right. And that right there, I think, already makes it a little bit better. It's not the fix, but just moving the season up 1 week, we get more of the top teams to play. We're going to figure it out with the 16-game schedule. And I think is what everybody wants, and we're going to. We got to believe that's happening. Nobody wants to see JMU.
Right.
Nobody wanted to see Tulane. I'm sorry.
We already saw that game once, 45-10.
Their fans, they already had kissed and said their goodbyes and their Hail Marys, and they sent them off to war knowing they weren't coming back, right?
Yeah.
They were sending them off to die, and everybody knew that. And that's what happened. Yeah. And two games.
I mean, both games were identical.
It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you could say that JMU, whoever played Oregon, came back late. No, they didn't. Oregon was resting everybody and didn't want to get guys hurt. So that stop that. I mean, that's not what happened. Right. If you watch that game, the Oregon dominated that game from the very get-go, and they didn't have a chance. Yeah. So, and neither did Tulane. And it's not their fault. All right. It's, a little bit more. They still have an opportunity to be in, by the way. Yeah. They can still be a 15 or 16. I don't think that it's fair to the 15 or 16 team, right? Because I think they would have done the same thing to them.
Yeah, because now you're saying, in this case, Arizona and Houston, for instance. Now, JMU and Tulane would have a hell of a lot better chance to beat Houston, but they wouldn't play. That's not who they would be playing.
They wouldn't be playing.
They'd be playing
the number one seed.
Yeah.
So there's no reason for them to be in there. They'd be playing they would have been playing Indiana. They'd have been playing.
Yeah, if they got rid of
Ohio State. They'd have been playing Georgia. Yeah. And they would have been playing Ole Miss.
Yeah, I mean,
those have been the four.
Or maybe what they could do here is have these playing games, and then have those two teams from whatever what do they call it, the not the Power Five, whatever it is, the Tulanes and JMUs of the world. I can't remember the name, but have those guys play themselves in a playing game, and you get one of those in as a 16 seed. Kind of like in basketball, where they'll have the Wednesday night game, and that team automatically goes in as a 16 to play the number one.
I mean, if you want to.
I'm just saying, if you're going to have a team in, at least they both have a big game now. It's on.
I'm a big believer in the YMCA theory of everybody gets a trophy.
I'm with you on that too. I'm just saying, if you want to keep them in, what I'm saying is I'd rather see those two play each other in a game, and then one of them move on to get killed by a number one seed, instead of having two in there and knocking two teams out.
No. I mean, one would be better than two, but zero would be better than one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Let's stick with that, because that's the best. That's the best thing.
I'm with you on that. Anyway, I just thought it was really interesting, and
the question would be, what does it do with the portal?
He moves it back, so the portal would not open. Now the portal opens during the playoffs. The portal would not open until a week after the national championship. But it would still be open now, January 8th.
Okay.
And then signing, same thing, January 8th. So you eliminate all that crap going on too. So, to me, it does clean up a lot. Now, the money and all that, like I said, he wasn't addressing that. And that's the government now is getting involved.
And then you could still have all the other ancillary bowl games.
100%. You still have the Myrtle Beach Bowl.
When are you going to have those?
They would do those the same time they do them now. Like, they do them on a Thursday, December 18th, or they wouldn't really change. So all the teams that go to those bowl games would still have that opportunity. This just makes everything more condensed, and it makes the secondary bowls bigger. The TV audiences are going to be a lot bigger. The players are going to play and not sit out. Like, it just makes all that better. Plus, it makes it, to me, a real playoff. Like a real playoff now.
Yeah, and my question would be, with those other bowl games, what meaning are they going to be if you're a star player? Probably not.
You mean like the ones like if you're playing the Myrtle Beach Bowl?
Yeah.
Well, those guys, the stars aren't playing anyway.
No, I understand that, and I'm not that, but my point was going to be, but there's still some value for those bowls.
Yeah.
And what
they would stick around. They still have them.
And what the value is, a lot of people, they just say, why do we have those games? They don't matter anyway. No, they do matter.
Yeah.
They matter for those programs.
Yep.
They matter for those programs because it's an opportunity for recruits to come out there and put their hands on or the coaches to put their hands on these recruits and to see how they operate and to show them, what they're about. And it's an opportunity for my younger players to have an extra week to prepare to get better, right? So there is some value to having those other bowl games for some of these other teams. Is it going to be value for us as fans? Probably not, because we're not going to watch those games.
Right, and we're not really watching them anyway, unless you're gambling on them.
But it's going to be an opportunity for Wisconsin to go to Miami and play and see Miami kids come to see what Wisconsin's about.
Well, that's what I was going to say, too. It's also a reward for the players on the team that busted their butts all year. A lot of these guys have never traveled outside of certain areas. So for them to get to go to one of these other places and get treated like a king for a week and experience, roll
out the red carpet, go to Knott's Berry Farm, go to Disneyland, go to Orlando and see the Mickey Mouse,
whatever it is. Yeah. So you don't get rid of that either. But anyway, I thought it was interesting, and we'll see if what happens. There's no doubt in my mind, I think, and you agree with me on this, there's going to be some changes that happen this offseason, rightfully so.
I think that's a much easier change and fix.
Yeah.
Scheduling wise, I would want to know, I don't need to know, but I think what people would want, what the TVs would want to know, and what the colleges want to know is how is that going to affect the ratings and the stations, and who are they going up against and what.
Well,
but if college football is king, where does that put them against the NFL on their weekends?
Well, under this schedule, he brought that up. He goes, you're not going up against that's why you even do the Sunday selection show Sunday morning at 9 a.m. You're not going against the NFL at all. So you keep away from the NFL. Those secondary bowl games and now our playoff games, the ratings are going to skyrocket on TV because now people are watching them as opposed to watching BYU play Georgia Tech and nobody's playing. So it does solve a lot of that. The NAL stuff is just a whole different ball game.
That's going to take lawyers. That's going to take government. That's going to take a committee.
Yeah.
That's going to take a commissioner.
Yeah.
It's going to take all sorts of things in order to figure that out, because there's too much money involved with that for them to just say, okay, well, we're going to just let it go, and we really don't care, and we're going to kind of let it be. It can't continue to be the Wild West.
No, it can't.
Right? It can't.
Look in college basketball right now. You've got guys that happened twice this week who left school and played in the G League or pro somewhere else who are now coming back.
28-year-old kids playing in college football because they're going to make money playing in the NFL.
Yeah, it's like Calipari. I think I told you this story. Said that he was recruiting a kid, and the dude was like, no, I need more money. I got alimony payments. He's like, alimony payments? You're like 22 years old or 24. How do you have alimony payments? But anyway, we'll see what happens with all that. Now let's shift into the NFL. We got the AFC and NFC championship this weekend on Sunday. Let's start in Denver, where New England travels to Denver after wearing the Texans out in the snow and turning over C.J. Stroud. I think he just threw another pick. New England's -4.5. The big story here, I think, is that Bo Nix getting hurt in overtime. And now Stidham's going to have to come in. Hasn't taken, I think, but one snap in 2 or 3 years. Peyton makes it sound like this guy should be a starting quarterback places. You hear other players. I think a couple Patriot players even came out this week and said, we think he's better than Bo Nix. So Sean Payton came out.
Who said that?
A couple of defensive players, which is stupid to give them bulletin board.
Yeah,
but then Sean Payton came out and said, they talked about, is the team tired? And Sean Payton came out and said, look, after we win this weekend, we're going to have a lot of rest. So there's a little bit of chirping going on. And Denver, as you talked about last week, is not an easy place to play. They just fought their butts off against Buffalo and what was a really good game, sloppy like most of the playoff games were last weekend. But you're Drake May. You've had 2 subpar games so far in your first taste of experience against 2 damn good defenses. And now you get to go to Denver with maybe the best defense you've played against so far this year. Definitely Denver, I think, the highest
Texans.
That's true. Second best defense you play this year. And I'm sure going to be cold. I haven't seen the forecast. I've only been focusing on ours here in Charlotte. but anyway, New England at Denver. What are you thinking?
Well, first off, let me say this about the games, last week and what that means this week. I don't know if it means anything this week or not. The conditions outside, the field conditions, the weather, etc., factored into it, but factored into it for everybody. The quarterback play last week was abysmal from everybody, from Josh Allen to Drake May to to Stroud to whoever it was. There was maybe Stafford played better, right? And Darnold, probably played the 2 best of all the quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
And those are the 2 best teams remaining, if you ask me. That's the Super Bowl is coming out of the NFC. If we're looking at paper and saying this teams are better, I think it goes Rams, Seattle, Patriots, Denver in that order. And the only reason I put Denver last is because of their quarterback situation. What people don't realize and understand, maybe sometimes is not that this kid can't play Stidham. He obviously is in the NFL, but things are going to operate a little differently, right? The snap count's going to sound a little differently. The checks, he's going to see things a little differently. He's still going to have to work with the coordinator to know what his best plays are. They're going to run a lot of what they do in practice, I'm sure. And, the guy's been in big situations at Georgia and, the games that he's been in the past, but this is a different animal right here. The good news is that, this is kind of Drake May's first rodeo too. And on the road, this is the first time he's had to play on the road in the playoffs. It's a different animal on the road. The home field advantage in the playoffs is significant. And as we saw, it can cause trouble, right? And not to mention, you're a lot of times going to get the favorite call from the referee, as we just saw.
Saw a lot of that.
In Chicago, it might have hurt, against the Rams. But against Denver, it helped.
Yeah.
I mean, being at home helped. Because that was a catch.
I agree. I think it was totally a catch.
And you're not going to convince me it wasn't. But neither here nor there. Denver's moving on, and they're playing a really good Patriots team. Maybe the coach of the year, maybe the MVP of the year, right? And the NFL MVP with Drake May.
They'll both finish top 2.
I don't disagree. I think it'll be 1 and 2. And I don't think Drake May is going to win it, unfortunately. And I don't think that Vrabel's going to win it either. I don't know if McVay will, the coach of the year, but there's some damn good jobs and coaching
McDonald
jobs
in Seattle. He's been unbelievable.
Yeah, O'Connell. Denver. I don't even know if he's in the mix.
He wasn't in the top 5, which was surprised the hell out of me.
But the coach from Chicago is one of those guys. So there's a lot of. But as far as the games go, Denver, what their strengths are, I think trumps what New England. They're good against good. New England or Denver's better. And the fact that they're going to have home field advantage is going to even add to that. New England wants to run the ball. They want to use play action. Drake May wants to use his legs. Denver's excellent on defense. They're fast, they're physical, and they're going to have the home field advantage. It could overwhelm a kid like Drake. And Drake is as cool and common and as a demeanor as you're going to find. But again, playing at Denver in that type of condition, it's just a different animal. I like Denver in a close one, a low-scoring game. I don't know who's going to win the turnover battle, but whoever does that, whoever does the little things, as we just saw Cignetti do it in Indiana, whoever wins the kicking game has a chance to win this game.
Well, I looked up the weather. It's going to be 27 degrees at game time.
That's warm,
but no rain, no snow. So that's a
good crisp day in Denver.
Yeah, and that bodes well for both
and New
teams.
England, by the way. It's a lot colder in New England, and so the weather is not going to factor into it. The altitude might. The home field and the noise will. And I'm with you. I think these teams on paper, even with the backup quarterback for Denver, are very close. I don't see why Denver's getting 4.5. To me, that's, but that also tells me take New England, because if Vegas is giving 4.5, it's almost like they're suckering you to take Denver. Well, they suckered me. And I've been awful in the NFL playoffs so far, but I'm with you. I just think that with Denver's defense and the way that Drake May's been turning the ball over in the playoffs thus far. He's not played well in the playoffs.
Yeah, and he's fumbling the ball a lot. And guess what? The pass rush for Denver is as good as anybody in the league. And so they're going to be getting after him. And I think that Stidham, I do trust, as much as I can't stand Sean Payton. I do.
He's going to put a game plan together that's not going to compromise his quarterback. It's going to put them in the best position. And there's going to be a lot of punts, a lot of runs, and some play action.
And, Stidham, to kind of put his money where his mouth is with Payton. When Sean Payton took over the job at Denver, his first signing as a free agent was Stidham. Before he knew he was getting Bo Nix, he was very comfortable with Stidham being the quarterback that first year. So he obviously saw something in him. And look, Sean Payton doesn't strike out much on quarterbacks. He's been pretty damn good with quarterbacks throughout his career, even backup quarterbacks. So I do give him enough credence into what he's believed and what he's done to figure out a game plan that Stidham won't be the reason they lose. And it isn't like Nix is throwing the ball over the yard. Nix is,
he's not now because he's broke.
But when he did play, he
wasn't lighting it up.
He was going to run.
He was managing the game.
Right.
And he was managing the game, and he could use his athleticism to keep plays alive. The play that he got hurt on, he was improvising, made a big play, threw it down the field, kept the play alive. They ended up getting the pass interference and, the first down. I don't know if the refs are going to, have that type of favor, like they did against Buffalo towards New England, but it'll be interesting to see, especially after the criticism that those refs are going to get, that they got last week.
Yeah, I wish they would just stay the hell out of the way. And like in college football playoffs, I thought the referees did a really good job of just kind of staying out of the way. They let them play. We saw tugging and whatever, and unless it was egregious, they really didn't call it, and they stayed out of the way. And I think that's the way it should be. Hopefully, that's the way it's going to be this weekend. The night game, 6:30 Sunday night. And this ought to be a beauty. Rams against Seattle. They know each other very well. They've played twice every year. They've split this year. Second game in Seattle was one of the all-timers where neither defense could stop the other offense. Sam Darnold has had a hard time with turnovers versus the Rams. I believe he had 6 maybe this year. And then last year, I believe he threw 4 interceptions against them in a game. So something that the Rams do on defense has caused him issues.
It's matchups. And that's what it is, DJ. When you play in the same division, I don't care if it's the ACC in college football, the SEC, the Pac-12, the Big Ten, the Big 12, whatever conference it is, you don't build to beat everybody else when you're building. You built to win your conference.
Mm-hmm.
You build to stop the best teams in your conference. The Rams are built to beat the Seahawks. They're built to beat the Cardinals. They're built to beat the Niners. And when they play those teams, their matchups are going to be better than them because that's the way they built their team, because they're going to see them twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see a team twice a year, you're going to play them one home, one away versus a team that you might play on, on the East Coast. It's not even in your division, or another team that's, in the NFC, that's going to be a team that you see once every 4 years. You're not going to build your team to slow those down. The Rams are built the best in the NFC.
Yeah, you see it with you talk to the Steelers or the Ravens, and they say they build their team to beat the other one.
That's right.
The Panthers going back to
Cincinnati and Cleveland.
Yeah,
right?
And when the Panthers drafted Thomas Davis, it was because Michael Vick.
That's right.
So you're right. 100%.
So that's the Rams in the 2 games that they have played have literally dominated 90% of the 7 quarters. The Rams dominated, right? 1 quarter they didn't. It was the 4th. Against the Seahawks
with a crazy 2-point conversion,
with everything having to go right to send it into overtime, where the Seahawks ended up winning at home on a Monday night or Sunday night late game. I watched the entire thing and I was like, I can't believe that. It was a backwards pass, nobody knew, et cetera, blah blah blah. We all saw the play, but the Rams had dominated. Nobody's stopping Puka and nobody's stopping Devontae. They had their way with them. And then you throw a tight end in there and you throw what Stafford's doing right now.
3 tight ends.
They got 2 running backs. They can do it all.
And the MVP most likely.
And their defense gives Seattle matchup nightmares, right? And they know how to play them. Unless Seattle changes a little bit of what they do, which they're not going to do, they're just going to try to do what they did and, a little bit better. Go out there and execute a little bit better. This is a Rams victory, and they've played in Seattle. They're used to the noise. They know what they're walking into. They have a chip on their shoulder because they lost the last game. I think it's a 7 to 10 point game. And I don't know what the spread is. I'm sure Seattle's favorite.
Seattle's minus 2.5.
Yeah, and it's the Rams all day.
Do you think? And you might have been in this situation in the NFL. I know you weren't with the Rams because you guys were the number 1 seed. But does the fact that the Rams had to play the first week of the playoffs and had to travel to Charlotte and then go home, and then the second week they had to travel to Chicago, playing that awful weather, and then go home, and now does being on the road 3 weeks in a row take a little out of you when Seattle only has had 1 game and it was an ass whooping against the 49ers?
It sharpens my knife, bud. And I'm sure for these guys in the playoffs, it does the same. This is your opportunity to go out and win a championship. You're one of 4 teams left. Forget the tiredness. Fatigue makes cowards of us all, right? When you learn how to beat fatigue is when you become a champion. There has to be some sort of toughness in a team to be a championship team. I think the Rams are the tougher team. They're built. They've been on the road. They've traveled. They've won hostile games.
Got a coach that's been there and done it.
They've been in the close ones. They got a coach that's been there and done it. They got a quarterback that's been there and done it. Puka Nacua, I think, is one of those guys that will slowly become, a superstar in this league because of he does everything so well, and he's a well-spoken guy. He's a smart guy. He's a hard worker. He's a great teammate, and it's just like what you saw with Mendoza. the players rally around guys like that. The players are going to play hard for guys like that. He's not the head guy on that team, but he's a key piece to them winning. And when you have a couple of guys like that, it's a tough way to beat those guys. And I just think that Stafford's one of those guys. He's having that type of season. McVay's been there, done that. He has that dog in him a little bit, and they're going to be ready to play. And Seattle's not going to back down. It's going to be a hard-hitting game for sure. They're going to have to go out there and win it. But, I think at the end of the day, the Rams have more talent. They have more experience. And I'm not sold on Sam Darnold as the guy that's going to take me to win a Super Bowl.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, I think in that game in particular, if you ask anybody what's the one thing you worry about, I think everyone's going to tell you
there'd be two things. Coaching, he's never been there.
Yep.
And quarterback.
Yeah, and Darnold, because of what he has done against the Rams in the last 2 years, even though he looked good against the 49ers, but he didn't really have to do anything. I mean, they scored the first opening kickoff of the game, and then they just turned on the damn Jets, and they rolled them. They were never in a position where Darnold had to throw the ball. Right. And the Rams, because they can score, even against this great Seattle defense, we saw Matt Stafford and the Rams put up, I think, 560 yards of offense the last time they played in Seattle. So both of us have both of us have the Rams versus Denver in the Super Bowl, and we both are on record as well saying the NFC is going to win it. I just hope both these games are good. I hope they're competitive. I hope the refs stay the hell out of the way, and I just hope our freaking power doesn't go out so we can watch them. And it's funny, my buddy Kevin, who always says, being funny, is like, I just hope both teams have fun. Well, I hope we can have fun watching these damn games, even though there'll be no heat in the house and we'll be freezing our asses off in blankets. And
I in here, there'll be plenty of heat going.
Well, that's true, especially with us yelling and screaming at each other and all that. But I'm looking forward to those games this weekend. Then we got a break, a week off between the Super Bowl and now, and we'll have a lot of time, as you know, because you've been in that situation where we're going to see 100 interviews of 100 players and all those things. I want to ask you this too. When you have the 2-week bye before the Super Bowl, or the 2 weeks between the playoff and the Super Bowl, the first week that you're off, knowing that you don't have a game that weekend, do the coaches kind of use that week to not only let certain guys get healthy, obviously they're putting in a game plan, I'm sure, but is that week, are you almost giddy a little bit because you don't have a game this weekend? You're focused on the Super Bowl, obviously, but you're also just excited to be there and focus more on let's put the game plan in, let's get healthy, and then next week we'll go full Jets.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever want to feel giddy and happy to be there, right? That's there's some coaches I think that may have sent that message, and they're the ones that get in their asses whipped in the playoffs. The ones that keep the edge on. We still have a job to do. We're still going to, go out here and practice.
Approach it the
I'm
same
not
way.
going to say they're going to work as hard during practice, but they're going to do a little bit more self-evaluation. They'll put some plays in. The last thing you want to do is get somebody hurt in practice.
Right.
In a week before leading up to the Super Bowl, when you got a whole week, physicality is a part of it. By this time of the year, most of the guys are in shells. They're running through their plays. They still need to be fast. They still need to execute. All those things need to exist, but it's a little bit different at this level than college with that week off, because
it's a job.
It's they're professionals.
Yeah. And
you're expected to go out there and, not take a step back when you get off the bike, just pick it up as you're going.
Yeah. It's a great point. And I don't know if you saw what Ben Johnson, the first year head coach of the Bears, said yesterday. He was asked, you had a great season, better than anyone anticipated. You made a game away from making the NFC Championship. What do you build on going in next year? And I thought his answer was perfect. And another reason why I just like this dude, even though I want to hate him, he said, there's nothing to build on because we're done and everybody be done in a few weeks and everybody starts over.
That's right.
What you did the year before means nothing.
Well, that's why you showed me this schedule that they came out with, all the strength of schedule. I said,
yeah,
you know what? This is kind of the most irrelevant thing in the world to talk about, but I understand why we talk about it, because we want something to compare to. But this team with a 55% win, it's not going to be the same team.
Right. Well,
there's a turnover of 20 to 45% on every team. Every team's going to be different.
And not only that, I mean, a perfect example of it is Jaden Daniels and the Redskins were in the NFC Championship last year. This year, the Bears defense, and the reason that the Redskins were there was because, or the Commanders, was because, you know, the ball bounced their way so many times. They had 5 like late last minute wins. Well, the Bears this year led the league in turnovers with a bad defense. The ball went their way. So yeah, they may
Caleb Williams in the fourth quarter to lit it up.
Right, exactly. So
just like
if they can get him to light it up in the first 3 quarters, but then they may not get all those takeaways because you know the way the ball bounces sometimes. So when he said that, I thought to myself, man, that's the way to approach it. He goes, we can't build off anything.
Yep.
And he goes, we start over just like everybody else is going to start over. And what we did this year means nothing.
That's right.
And man, when he said that, if I was a player watching that, it would fire me up. Like, you know, the job ain't done. And Cignetti, we talked about him a lot earlier in the show. He said that, like when they made to the national championship, he said, we're going to enjoy it tonight. And then tomorrow, I'm going to be on their ass. And I'm going to probably be harder on their ass than I normally am because I want to make sure that they're not reading the papers and believing all the hype. Yep. And so anyway, I just was curious when you had that extra week, is it hard to stay focused, or at that level, you're focused because you know you got one more game at hand? You got one
opportunity to go out there. You're going to have young players that you might have to corral in.
Yeah.
But that's where the veteran players and that are doing this for their families and, you know, for, you know, baby need new shoes and the diapers and all the things that, you know, that you're going to provide for your family.
Condos in Cabo.
Yeah, that's right. The condos in Cabo. I mean, those don't come easy. You got to work hard for those.
Damn right. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us today. Again, enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the games on Sunday. Stay warm. Hopefully everybody keeps their power. If not, come on to the house. I got the generator running, and we'll throw down a little bit.
Funny things keep you warm too.
Damn right. And Big D, thank you for your help. George over there in the corner was quiet today, so he was a good dog. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the games. We'll see you Monday.